Well, it seems only fitting since we are here in Faith United Methodist Church that we will open up. The pastor, Pastor Straight, the father of this great house of worship, is going to come forth and lead us in prayer.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Faith United Methodist Church. We are so very glad to host this evening's event and to let you know that this is a place where we don't just invite civic leaders and those of you who do the work of the public to come and have meetings, but we pray for you on a regular basis because we know that the work that you do is a hugely important work and that you cannot do it alone. So whether you have the faith of Christ, of Islam or Buddha or whatever God you worship, we know that knowing that there's something bigger than you doing the work that you do is hugely important to making better communities. So tonight I invite you to join me in prayer. Eternal God, we are so grateful for this opportunity to be a community sharing with one another, to have our leaders present to discuss issues of major concern. Help us to help them to be leaders for us so that we can make this village of Dolton, this state of Illinois, this world a better place. We ask these things because we know that you are bigger than we are, and with your help, all things are possible. It's in your wonderful name that we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, thank you, Pastor Straight. So first of all, we want to thank you and welcome all of you who have made the time, taken time out of your busy schedules to come out to tonight's town hall meeting. We appreciate it. We know there are many places where you can be tonight and many things that you undoubtedly need to do. But you thought it was important enough to come out, share your concerns, and it's important for us to hear some of your concerns and ask some of your questions. So if you'll look up front, you have some of the department heads and the people who are part of the administration and the government of the village of Dolton. And we're also going to have a time for you all to ask questions. We also have our elected officials who are also introduced. First of all, I want to introduce up front, you have Mayor Riley Rogers, who is here with us this evening, whose idea was to come and have this meeting together with the residents of Dolton so that we can hear many of your concerns. So we're very thankful for that. We have Illinois State Representative of the 29th District, Thaddeus Jones, who's with us. And he also thought it was very important to be here. Of course, any of our events that we have and programs that we have, he's always available to give us some counsel and assist us whenever possible. And we also have Illinois State Representative Will Davis from the 30th District, who is present with us. These faces are not strangers to you. You've seen them around because they're very active in the south suburbs and in these areas. So we thank them. You know these men have very busy schedules, so we're very thankful that they were able to be with us. We did receive two messages. Napoleon Harris, Senator Napoleon Harris, said that he had another engagement. He just texted us a few minutes ago. He said he was going to do everything he could to make it, but he's not going to be able to make it here with us today. And we're also waiting for Cook County Commissioner Deborah Sims and Cook County Commissioner Stanley Moore. They will hopefully be here, but we're not going to let that hold it up. We're going to go ahead and move forward with our program. So I want to start with introducing our elected officials for the village of Dolton. You've seen them, of course. To my left here, you have Trustee Dwayne Muhammad. Please stand up so everybody can see you. All right. And Trustee Valeria Stubbs, who is present with us as well.
Good evening, everyone.
Trustee Robert Pearson is present. Okay. Sandra Phillips, who deals with the permits. You've undoubtedly, if you're a business owner, you've seen her and come in and talk to her if you're a business owner or you come to do some work on your house. We also have the village administrator, Stan Urban, who is present with us today. And Trustee Stan Brown has also joined us.
Good evening, everyone.
All right. And here to the right, we have our our fire chief, Steve McCain. He's here with us. We have our Superintendent of Public Works, Matt Stacy. We have our Police Chief, Robert Collins. Okay, he was here. And we have the Patrol Commander, Commander Matan, who is here with us today. Brian, whose name is a really cool name, but it's hard to pronounce. So I'm going to, Brian Marciniak, who is over our water department. We have Brian Thigpen, who is dealing with code enforcement. And we have our deputy police chief, who is here, Mr. Ernest Mobley, okay? And our accounting department, we have, we have our accounting. Ms. Redmond is here with us. Yvonne Redmond is also with us. So we have all the elected officials and department heads who are here. We also like to thank some of our community representatives. We have Demetrius from Fathers and Blessings. They got a very important program coming up this weekend, Real Men Cook, and are always involved in the community. We have Ms. Sandra Wells, who is also with us, Neighborhood Housing Services, Inc. All of these people you have seen. And Mario Reed, are they outside at the table? Okay, we have Mario Reed representing the Cook County Recorder of Deeds office. They have a lot of great information to give to you. And we have just been joined by our housing department director, Ms. Denise Fields. She's made it in, okay? So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with some opening comments from our mayor, Riley H. Rogers.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight, especially on this extremely hot day. We actually were going to hold this outside, but we were watching the weather over the past week and thought it would be a good idea not to be out there in the 90-degree weather. I know that you can be somewhere else tonight, but this truly shows me how concerned you are to come to this town hall meeting. I think it's good to interact with the residents and so I can hear their side of what's going on and you can actually hear our side of what's going on. So I really appreciate that you're here tonight. So I also asked our two elected officials here, State Representative Thaddeus Jones and State Representative Will Davis. We're fortunate enough to have two state representatives to represent the village of Dolton. Every town does not have that luxury. So they've been very supportive of me in this village also, prior to me becoming mayor and now up to date. There's a lot of things that they can't get done right now in Springfield. Some of you know about the stalemate that's going on, but they continue to fight to do certain things in our community. So they will be here to actually bring you up to date on some things that's going around, not only in the district, but what's going on in Springfield. So, where do we begin tonight? There's a number of things that we put together to talk about tonight. And just to touch on some of them, and some of these, there will be a question and answer session after we give our spiel here tonight, but some of these things may, matter of fact, they all will touch you one way or the other. We're going to start with our new village hall. I'm not sure if all of you know where our new village hall is. It's new to us. It's an old building, but it's the MB Bank building that was donated to us. I think we've been in there, a little bit over 2 years now? Is it 2 years? Okay, year and a half. It was donated by MB Bank. They also gave us a check for $10,000 to help us with the move. It has served us well. The water department, any type of fees or things that you need to pay, you can actually use the drive-through. You don't have to come into the building to make those payments. So I think we're about the only village or town that has that luxury where you can actually stay in your car and make your bill payments. The Dorchester is in the process of being sold. It's not completed yet. I believe the selling price is $3.2 million. The Dorchester has been an asset for the village for a long time, but over the years it has caused some depletion of funds. In actuality, the village was actually taking care of it, and it was costing approximately close to $100,000 a month to maintain it. Since October 1st of last year, we have entered into an agreement with an operator to operate that facility, and since that day, we have not paid any of the expenses for the Dorchester. So we were able to immediately alleviate that $100,000 cost that was costing to operate that facility. We have not got the final check yet. Everything's in the works. There's been some things that have been held up in Springfield in regards to the transfer of the licensing. It's on the desk. It's ready to be done. I've reached out to Senator Harris. He's made some calls. It just hasn't been completed yet, but hopefully, I would think in the next month, 2 months, 45 days, we should be getting a check for that property. Demolition of unsafe properties. As you may have noticed, there have been some of the abandoned properties that were completely in disrepair that have been demolished here within the city. I think last year there was about 7 to 9 properties that were taken down. Our Public Works had taken down 2 or 3, but we've called on the assistance of the Cook County Sheriff's Department, Tom Dart. They started a pilot program with demolition with some of the inmates, and they chose Dolton to be the first pilot village to work that program. Since then, they've had an outcry from other towns to help them or assist them with demolition. So a lot of the houses that we had on the list last year were not able to be demolished simply because of the outcry from the other villages that wanted assistance for demolition. Each time one of those houses is demoed, we're saving the town between $20,000 to $30,000 in demolition costs. So the 7 or so that they took down last year, you can say that they've saved us $140,000 to $160,000. This year they've taken down, I believe, 2 already. We have 13 on the list. So we're looking to save well over $250,000 in demolition costs with the assistance of the Sheriff's Department. Also, they have come into our town. I've asked for assistance with police patrols. They have kind of converted our old water department into a sub-post. They are assisting our police chief and our police department with maintaining the safety of this village. So, I really like to applaud the sheriff and his department in regards to giving us assistance where we actually needed it. South Suburban Land Bank and Development Authority. We've developed a strong relationship and working with the realtors to sell these distressed properties. Denise, what's the number of properties that we've sold since 2015? January 1st, 2015 to currently. I know in 10 months we had sold over 500 houses. Okay. But the village didn't have a good relationship with the realtors, so there were some things that we changed in actuality to make it a little bit more, make the town a little bit more realty friendly. Our houses were staying on the market an average of 282 days. Now our houses are staying on the market usually between 8 to 14 days. We're currently, how many houses did we sell last month? 29 houses we sold last month. So if you took that on average over a yearly basis, it'll equate to over 300 houses. So it's a continuing cycle of foreclosures, unfortunately, foreclosures that are happening, and people that are moving out. But by the same token, when we sell a house, that means that if we sold 400, 500 houses, that means that 500 new residents have taken. Some of those houses are investors, but that means that 500 more occupants are occupying those houses, which become not vacant anymore. So we're on the right path, I think, in regards to selling property and having more residents move in. Okay. In our new Village Hall, we have established a state-of-the-art media center. As some of you may have seen on Channel 4, it's been totally upgraded to what you've been used to seeing over the past several years. Steve is our media director. There's actually, we've taken one of the vaults that was in the bank, completely removed all the safety deposit boxes, and have modified that vault for a media center. It's a full studio. Ed does filming there, he does editing. We've had the U.S. Congresswoman Robin Kelly come out to do taping for her. We did some things with the Park District. It's all to bring better communication to the residents so you can see actually what's going on here in the village. Not only are we viewed on Channel 4, we were also made an agreement with AT&T, and the village shows can actually be seen, board meetings can actually be seen on Channel 99. Okay. I'm excited about this. This year, we were able to put in a program for summer youth employment. It was dubbed the 50-20 program, 50-20 employment program. The concept was to employ 50 youth, 20 hours a week for an 8-week period at $10 an hour. So when we announced this program, trustees and State Representative Thaddeus Jones were present at the fountain when we announced this program, and we went to the board to get approval to fund the program. The program is going to cost about $80,000, but what we thought was that by employing these youth, we don't know, but we can say reasonably that they would have something to do for the summer. They would have some income where they can spend and or save, and hopefully they'll stay out of trouble. I've received so many calls from other mayors in regards to this program. They wanted to take a look at it. So it's important that this program is successful. We were able to, we had an overwhelming response in regards to the students and the youth that wanted to participate. So the only fair way that we thought to select those youths was by lottery. So myself, Trustee Dwayne Muhammad, Trustee Stubbs were present on that day where we actually picked the names of those Dolton youth, and they're employed. They're working throughout the village, every department they're working. After 4 weeks, we'll take an assessment. There will be some of them that will be moved to other departments so they can get cross-training. But I think it's a big help, and it gives those students something to do and gives them experience in different departments when they want to go out and seek employment, full-time employment in other places. So if you see some of the young people around the village, that's the program that they're in. It's called a 50-20 program. And I think we have some of them here tonight, and they will get a chance to speak a little bit later in regards to the program and how it benefits them. The Outdoor Manufacturing Company, some of you may have known it as the, help me here, Ball Glass. It's at 139th and Cottage Grove. They employ 400 employees. They came to us in regards to some tax concessions, and we asked them to help reduce the unemployment rate in Dolton. And so the next 50 employees that were hired, it's going to be hired over in the Outdoor Glass Company are going to be from Dolton. Sandra, I think you helped on this program, doing employment. And the trustees that came out and helped doing the hiring process, but we had the job fair where they were there, and we had close to 600 people attend that job fair. It's a good facility to work at. I think they start in the range of about $58,000 to $60,000 a year. The conditions are kind of stressful. It's very hot in there. It's 100, 120 degrees because they melt the raw products to produce glass. So, so at any rate, we were happy to bring them on board. They've also helped reduce the unemployment rate here in Dolton. When I took office, it was at 14.5%. Right now, we're down to about 9% unemployment. Those new businesses that have come into town, I've insisted that they hire from within, and we've had the Checkers in the Circle K gas station to come in town. They hired 71 employees, and 50 of those employees, I think it was 52 employees, live here in the village of Dolton. So those are some of the things that we can do, especially when these new businesses come in and they want concessions, they want help from the village. So we asked them to assist us with hiring some of our unemployed. The Dolton Chamber of Commerce has been reestablished. We ask that if you're in business, to try to help and recruit people to put this chamber back on the map. Part of the new businesses that have been here, like I said, Circle K, that have come in, I should say, under this administration is the Circle K, the Checkers, our new water treatment plant that's located on Greenwood, and I'm not sure if we signed the final papers yet, but we have a Taco Bell that is coming into where the old Dusty's was. So the plans, okay, the deal is done. They should start construction by the end of this month or the first of next month, and should be up and open. I think they said 90 days to complete the project. Okay, October. Okay. Police-related issues. We've started to hire additional police officers based upon a transfer from other, what do we call it, lateral transfers. Lateral transfers from other departments where these police officers come in, they already have experience. We don't absorb the cost of training. They ride along with some of our police officers that we have on the department right now, and they get familiar with the policies and of the Dolton Police Department. I'd like to also say that from the money that has been seized through drug operations and arrest, we were able to purchase a new vehicle, canine vehicle, and train and purchase a canine dog for the village of Dolton. He started work, when was that, a month ago? About a month ago, and dividends have paid off already. Last week, there was a seizure of about $1,500, vehicle, and was there any weapons involved? Oh, no weapons involved, but you may see the canine unit out there, so they're actively patrolling and actively trying to keep this village safe. How much money have we seized in our drug asset? What's the amount of money that we've seized? Okay. Over the last couple of years, we've made a seizure of over $600,000. So we have undercover units for our department and with the sheriff's department that are actively working on investigations to try to rid those problems out of the village. So one of the main things that my concern is that it's keeping the village safe and keeping the residents safe. We have our new fire chief here, Mr. Pete McCain. He's actually reduced the budget by over $300,000. There's been community-oriented events, food giveaways, Toys for Tots, annual open house, trick-or-treat, smoke detectors giveaway, and there is going to be an annual upcoming health and welfare and blood drive here in the next, couple of weeks?
Saturday's the Health and Wellness Fair. We do have a blood drive that will be marketed for July 29th, and
Okay.
smoke detector giveaway on our website.
Okay, so there's a number of events that is happening with the fire department, but the health and wellness fair is this coming Saturday.
Correct.
Okay, what time is that?
That'll be from 10 to 3.
And where's it located?
At Dolton Fire Station 1, I'm sorry. The Health and Wellness Fair is located at Dolton Fire Station 1 at 14022 South Park.
Great. One of the things I want to let you know is that any time that you kind of feel ill, you want to get your blood pressure checked, you can go to the fire department, and they would do that at no cost. If you want to go there 3 times a day, if you want to go there twice a week, you can go and they can get your blood pressure checked instantly. The other thing that we're trying to put in place right now is a CPR class at no cost to the residents. Some of those classes are expensive, but if it saves one life, it's a good thing. So we're working on that to try to put CPR classes together for the residents. Melanie Fitness Center. I'll let Trustee Dwayne Muhammad tell you a little bit about what's happening over there and what has happened.
Good evening, everyone. Melanie Fitness has been in existence for 15 years now, and we had our 15th year anniversary, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago, and we're asking for residents to come in and get your special discount as a resident of the village of Dolton. We've had new equipment installed. It's a much cleaner facility. What we're trying to do, our ultimate goal at the Melanie Fitness Center is to make it self-sustaining. By that I mean, for the 15 years, the village of Dolton has been subsidizing the fitness center just like it has subsidized the Dorchester. So our goal is to not make a profit, but to at least make it break even. So in order to do that, as you know, the solution is membership. So that's what we're looking for. So we're looking for a lot of your faces. I'm trying to register your faces now so that when you come in, I can remember you and we can have a special discount for you. So if I don't remember you, you won't get a discount. Just kidding. We got a discount for everyone, whether you're a senior, if you're a veteran. If you are a senior, by the way, you can get it for free if you have silver sneakers. If you don't have silver sneakers, come in and we can counsel you on how to get silver sneakers. You'll pay no enrollment fee, you'll pay no monthly fee. For those of you who are not seniors, I think our senior rates start at age 80. No, I'm just kidding. I believe it's what? Is anybody here that knows that's a member? We don't have any Melanie members here, huh? I believe what was the senior membership start at? I believe it's 55. So that's now, I got a few years to make it to that. But any questions, just see me later concerning Melanie Fitness. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we have Stepping at the Fountain started back on Wednesday nights. If you want to come out for some entertainment, you can do that. Bring your lawn chair, grills. Our fountain is up and working and operating. There's a number of street lights being repaired and related issues. I know some of you that may use the Greenwood Passageway, 154th Street. It is, thank you. It is, you probably noticed that flashing light there for over a month. And we've got a number of calls in regards to that flashing light. However, there's a traffic control box on the northeast corner that is kind of antiquated and it burned out. So Meade Electric had to, or they are in the process right now of rebuilding that traffic control box. So that's what's taking so long. We thought it was going to be completed by last Friday. It's not completed yet. There's been a lot of emails back and forth in regards to when it's going to get done, but believe me, we know what's happening there, and that the only way that we could control it was with the flashing red light and or stop signs, which the stop signs have been put in place too. I know it's a busy intersection, but we're going to get it repaired as quickly as we can. And that's about it, what I have so far, so I'm going to turn the mic over to State Representative Thaddeus Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. How's everybody doing? Fine. I was looking at his notes and like, is he finished yet? just joking, Mayor. I'm happy to be here and happy to be in the village of Dolton. I'm here just to hear your concerns. And how many of you guys know the state of Illinois is messed up? It's not our fault. The state of Illinois is messed up. But you know, the mayor talked about several things, and I saw you guys hesitant to clap. And we know that employing youth is a good thing, right? The mayor announced the 50-20 program, and I think we know that our youth, you know, have the opportunity to get in trouble, but this program is going to make sure that they not get in trouble. So you guys can clap all you want to, because that's a great thing for the village of Dolton. But let me thank the mayor and thank the trustees for not only asking myself, but the other representatives to come, Representative Davis. Our roles is a supportive role. The mayor mentioned earlier Ardell. I think I'm saying that right. Ardell, hard name to pronounce. You know, and just so you guys are aware, some of the collaborative things that we do, our offices got a call regarding the situation with Ardell in the village, and the state not only jumped in, but also working with the mayor and everyone that was assembled in the room, we were able to make sure that Ardell not only got the resources from the state, but the state actually flew in the CEO from Ireland or wherever he came from, correct? Yes. To make sure that he got concessions from the state and concessions from the village. So our role is supportive when we do programs and we do things in communities to make sure that businesses are protected, that youth get employed, and that you get your state services and state questions answered. And I know many of you have called my office, so I thank you for calling my office. My office is located at Pete's, so I'm not going to give out free groceries until November. But I want to thank you guys for coming and shopping at Pete's. It's a great place, and we also have good places in Dolton as well. I just want to talk about two things tonight. Number one, many of you have called my office regarding George's Towing. I've asked the ICC that any complaints that are taken tonight, that they will investigate. George's Towing has done some things. I know they're located in the village of Dolton. They've been in Dolton a long time. But George's Towing has done some things that have not made a lot of residents happy. So if you have a complaint that you want to file tonight, I have the complaint forms outside. We can take those complaints and make sure that the ICC gets those, so we can make sure that we have a fair hearing on George's Towing. The next couple of things, you guys see and hear that we have a lot of events coming up. Although I've emailed a bunch of you, I always email the flyers out, so if you'd like to get communications from me via email, the newsletter and the updates from Springfield. I also have a card outside. Let me show you. So you can actually put your contact information not only on here, but also make sure that we get your correct information. So you can just easily, this form is outside, just easily tear it off and send it to my office with your contact information, email, and we'll make sure you get the newsletter and the updates. I believe on the 21st of June or July, I'll be at the Dolton Library doing story time. So if anybody want to take my place or come read for me or with me, you're more than welcome. We'll make sure you get that information. But tonight, I'm here to hear your concerns and anything that my office can do to facilitate those concerns. When I walk in the village of Dolton, I always make sure that I send any issue that residents have with me to the mayor's office and follow through to make sure they get done. So if you have any questions for me, I'll stay here tonight and I look forward to any questions or concerns you have. I'll turn the mic over to, as you can see, we're not the same person. So I'll turn the mic over to my twin, Representative Will Davis.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? That last thing, you'd be surprised how many people in Springfield call me him and him me. And as you can see, we really don't look alike, do we? Okay. I'm pleased and honored to be here today. Thank you for Mayor Rogers for giving me the opportunity to come. I am Will Davis. I represent the 30th District, and for the village of Dolton, that's basically Chicago Road West. Chicago Road West is the 30th District. Chicago Road East is the 29th District, and together we make up the 15th Legislative District, and your senator is Senator Napoleon Harris. In addition to Dolton, I represent Riverdale, Harvey, Markham, Phoenix, Dixmoor, East Hazelcrest, Homewood, Flossmoor, Oak Forest, Midlothian, Posen, Robbins, and Blue Island. And Thaddeus represents essentially from somewhere in the city of Chicago, coming straight south all the way to Crete, correct? It's kind of what his district is. In terms of announcements, and I have plenty of these flyers here. The orange flyer, among the numerous things that we attempt to do to try to help residents and inform residents, I am hosting on June 23rd a rail transportation career fair here in the south suburbs, particularly here in the south suburbs between our two districts. We represent about 4 or 5 Class 1 rail yards. Everybody knows UP is right up the street, Canadian National, CSX Transportation, Indiana Harbor Belt. They're all right here in this area. The rail transportation industry is one that is looking for new blood. Many of their employees are older and are retiring, and they need to start replacing those individuals. So I've asked many of those rail companies, including Metra and other logistics companies, to attend a career fair on June 23rd at the Gloria Taylor Banquet Facility in Harvey from 9 to 1, but I have these flyers. They'll be made available if anybody wants them. And then on the other side, just like the village here is doing in terms of trying to encourage residents to be healthier individuals and to expose them to health and wellness, I also have partnered with an organization and am hosting a health and wellness fair July 16th in again at the same facility in Harvey, the Gloria Taylor facility. So hopefully you'll come out and join me there as well. And then in the packet, there was a shred day, just like the village is doing its own shred day. I also do those as well. Thaddeus does those. I had one just this past Saturday, but I have a second one coming up in September 24th. And that information is not here, but I'll make sure the village has it and we'll make it available to you through their communication means. Also, very quickly, on November 8th, we know that that is election day. David Orr's office, who is our county clerk, are looking for good people who want to work on election day and make a little money in the process. One of the things that I heard about this is that many of the poll watchers, or excuse me, election workers, and these are people that are hired by the county, the election workers aren't from our area. Many of them are transplants from the north side of Chicago because we don't have enough people from the south suburbs that want to do this kind of work. So, and this is open to high school students, juniors, seniors, college students, as well as any of you, if you have time on that day and would like to give basically the entire day to participate in the electoral process. I believe they have to be at least registered to vote. So that can be some 17-year-olds because we're talking about the November election, but certainly 18-year-olds as well. There are two positions. One is an election judge. As you walk in, you'll present to someone that has on a little badge. That's an election judge. But they also need people who are kind of a little more technologically advanced to be equipment managers, and they would float around the different precincts to try to address any of the technology or equipment failures that may exist from precinct to precinct. So this application that I have, what I would encourage is that you can apply online through David Orr's office, but the relationship that I've developed with them to try to make sure that South suburban residents receive the opportunities is that my office can be a repository for these applications. If you'd like to get them back to me, my office will personally get them to their office to make sure that they are processed appropriately. Now, one of the unique things I found out is that one of the requirements to do this is that you have to be a registered voter. Sometimes you are registered in one place and live in another place. Okay, don't act like y'all don't know anything about this. You know, sometimes you live here, but I've been registered way over there for years and I don't want to change my registration. Well, that is one of the things that will disqualify you from these positions, because when they look at your application, if the address you put on here doesn't match the voter registration that they have, you could be disqualified. But working through our office, if you do want to change and make the two work together, then we will work with David Orr's office to give you an opportunity to change your voting address or your registered voting address so that you can still take advantage of those opportunities. So again, you're welcome to return this brochure back to my office, and we will work with David Orr's office to make sure that you have an opportunity to be an election judge. My colleague Thaddeus talked a little bit about some of the challenges in the state, and if there are questions, I would love the opportunity to attempt to address those at the appropriate time, but there are some overriding challenges that exist in the state of Illinois. You see it on the news every day, you hear about it. Here we are almost about a year without having enacted, and I want to be clear about that, enacted a state budget. And the reason that I make that distinction is that last year, we passed a budget. And when I'm talking about the current fiscal year, which started June 1 of last year through July 30 of this year, that's what we call fiscal year 16. The Democrats passed the budget, and the governor vetoed all of those budgets except for one, which was the elementary and secondary education budget. We are essentially going through that same process again, where we have sent the governor a budget, and the governor has vetoed that budget. Now, the negotiations are underway to try to figure out if there's a way we can come to some resolve, not only on what programs we want to enact, what programs we want to put forward, but also the amount of revenue that we have to accumulate in order to make those decisions. So no different than what happens here in the village or in the county, where you have to determine the amount of revenue that you have, and then you have to figure out, you have to get consistency amongst the members to determine exactly how you spend that revenue. Now, some people have, as you probably have watched the news, there's a blame game going on between the governor, the Speaker of the House in particular, and we happen to be Democrats and work with the Speaker of the House. Well, the two of them can continue to point fingers at each other, but while they're pointing fingers at each other, what we see happening are social services, critical services are not being funded. Social services are not being contracted with the state. We have seen the backlog of bills. So if you are a state employee or a retired state employee, that puts your health care in jeopardy. There are a lot of challenges that go along with this. I would argue, and I may be biased, and I'm willing to admit that, but I would argue that the budget that we have put forward is the budget that funds a lot of the programs, that provides opportunities for young people, including summer jobs. Thank God the village was able to step up and do it on its own. But that budget that we pass includes summer jobs. It includes funding for Meals on Wheels for seniors. It includes funding for child care services for families and low-income families and single parents. Our budget includes significant resources for K through 12 education as well as higher education. Our budget includes that, and we are willing to stand up and say these are the things that we want to support. The governor has decided that these are things that he doesn't think are important to support. And the distinction that I'd like to make there is simply that while we can fight about where we are now, if you really want to know how the governor felt about any program that's important to you, the governor has a constitutional responsibility to introduce a budget. So if you go back to probably sometime in February or March of last year, and then February, March of this year, when the governor gives his budget address, that's where he talks about the things that he would like to fund, the programs that he would like to see happen. If you read through that, you will find that many of the things that I just talked about are not in his budget. They are not in his budget. He has no desire to fund crucial programs. He has no desire to provide resources for social service programs. One thing where he'd like to increase funding is in the Department of Corrections. And we know what happens, that if we're not providing after-school programs for young people, if we're not doing summer jobs for young people, to at least give them an opportunity to do something different, strong probability that they wind up in our correction system. And there he has no problem spending money. Has no problem spending it. Matter of fact, he wants to increase the number of correction guards that we have here in the state of Illinois because he's anticipating that influx to come into the Department of Corrections. So I say that, and again, if there are any specific questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I want to try to provide some context to this, what you're hearing on TV and what you may be reading in the paper. And it is kind of strained and it's kind of difficult. Unfortunately, while the Democrats have a supermajority, which is 71 votes, which is enough to override a governor's veto, unfortunately, we don't have 71 Democratic members who might be willing to stand with us to override that veto. We've heard about one representative from the city of Chicago, and then there are two other representatives, one in McHenry County and one in Lake County. Those three individuals generally don't support anything that the Democrats want to do at this time. They're not supporting anything that we want to do. So if we pass that budget that has all of those services in it that we'd like to see happen, that many of you either take advantage of or you know people that take advantage of those services, and the governor decides to use a power that he has, which is called a line item veto. So he can take 10 items and he can scratch out item 3, item 5, and item 7. That's a power that he has. And he could say, I'm going to veto those items. He sends that bill back to us. We don't have the 71 votes to override it. So when you hear the governor says the supermajority Democrats, yeah, in terms of the actual number, we do have that, but in terms of all of the members willing to support that kind of activity, we don't have that, which is in part and parcel why we are in kind of this stalemate that we are having right now. So again, I say that to provide some context. We aren't going to fix it all tonight, but I do hope to be able to answer some of your questions tonight if you have any specific ones about it. I am an appropriations chair. The committee that I chair in Springfield in the House side is the Elementary and Secondary Education Appropriations Committee. So I'm responsible for the about $7 billion of your tax dollars that goes out to schools throughout the entire state of Illinois. But as an appropriations chair, I am part of the budget work group. If you heard it on TV, you probably hear about the budget working group. And those are all of the appropriations chairs in the House and on the Senate side. And I am one of those appropriations chairs. So I am meeting. You know, we didn't meet today, but we met Monday, we met Tuesday. Didn't meet today, we're going to meet Thursday. We met the same schedule last week, and then prior to us leaving Springfield at the end of May, we were meeting every day to try to figure out a way to get through this. Okay, thank you. He's telling me to sit down, and I appreciate that. So anyway, I could be up all night talking about this. I apologize. So I'll just leave it at that, and hopefully if you have some questions, we'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Representative Davis and Thaddeus Jones. There was a couple of things I forgot to mention. This program that we did at ARDA that really helped with the hiring of Dolton residents was recognized by Senator Dick Durbin's office. He called us and wanted to come out and see exactly what we did in regards to putting that program together. So it was a collaborative effort from the Congresswoman's office, state representatives. So he came out, viewed the plan, viewed what we did. A couple of trustees was with us. And so when we do things like this, and it's recognized by the U.S. Senator's office, it's something to really be happy about. We've been fortunate enough to do some positive things here in the village of Dolton that has been recognized on a federal level. We've had our U.S. Congresswoman in our village on many occasions for things that we've done here in the village, and also with the Park District Commissioner Lester Long is here from the Park District at the new Early Learning Center that's been built at the Park District. And to get a U.S. Congresswoman and a U.S. Senator to come to a village of 25,000 people is something really to be recognized. So it leads me to believe that we're on the right track to making progress and going forward. So I appreciate the recognition of our programs that's going on. Also, we had a huge turnout the first and second dates of the electronic recycling program. Trustee Valerie Stubbs and Trustee Robert Pearson piloted this, I should say, what do you want to say? Spearheaded, there we go, that's the word. Spearheaded this program, and the first day was May 21st, which they took in a lot of electronic, any device with a plug you can turn in. Our second date was this past Saturday, June 11th, and in your pamphlet, if you got these of the events that are coming up, then you will see the other dates that you can actually bring out those electronic devices that will be recycled. Now, I wanted to bring our police chief up to bring us up to date in regards to some of the things that's happening in the village and in the police department. This is Police Chief Rob Collins. He's been doing a great job since he's been here. How long have you been here now, Chief?
Since September last year.
September last year. So he's put a lot of things in place. He's working with the new police officers, and we're trying to give him the equipment to make sure his job is a little bit easier. Chief Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we tonight? One of the things I want to talk about is public safety, as far as, I have to applaud our elected officials, because one thing that they are big supporters of is public safety, to make sure that we have the police officers, the firefighters, everything we need out there to keep the citizens safe on the street. And one of the things that we will be doing over the next year is adding more police officers so we can increase visibility out there, so we can take care of business a little bit better out there. The other thing we're going to be doing is training these officers better so that they can serve you better. We want nothing but the best product, and we will turn that out to the street, and that is a pledge from me to you as far as the best officers possible. These officers go out there day and night. When you're sleeping, they're out there taking care of business, and they do a pretty good job out there. I got to give them a hand. They do an excellent job out there. And one of the other things I wanted to talk about, the mayor brought it up a little bit earlier, about asset forfeiture, and when we seize money and property and whatnot. The purpose of that whole thing is to punish the violator, to punish the criminal. If you have drug dealers out there, there is tons of money in it. The money laundering, if that money is out there and we catch them and we arrest them, we're taking their money and we're going to seize their property. If it's a house, we're going to take the house. They have a boat, we're going to take the boat. They have a plane, we're going to take the plane. And all that money goes back into public safety. So there's no free spending of any of that money. It goes into an account and it goes into public safety so we can continue doing that kind of work out there. The other thing I like to talk about is personal safety. We're all aware of what happened in Orlando over the last few days. Orlando's not a special place that this can only happen there. That type of event happens everywhere. There's no place that's exempt. Movie theaters, schools, even places of worship. And one thing I want you to know is you always have to be aware of your surroundings. Always be vigilant, cognizant of where you are and what's around you at all times. For instance, when we came in here tonight and we sat down, did we look around and see where all the exits are? When we stepped out of our homes, did we scan the area to see what's out there? Or when we get off of work, we're so tired we want to get into the house. Do we look at the house first just to make sure that it's safe to go in? And these are the kind of things that we always have to be aware of. Personal safety. When you go to the grocery store, do you have a plan for an escape if something happens in a grocery store? Now, the police are out there, and we will be there, but you have to take steps to save your lives first. But we will be there. So always be cognizant of the things that are around you. Look at your car. Look inside your car before you open the door. And ladies, I tell you, if you go out, always have somebody with you. There is safety in numbers. There is no more, that is the biggest truth out there. There is safety in numbers. People that have ill intentions will think twice going after a group than a single person. So always know what's around you. One of the other things we did was we remodeled our training room. So we have a state-of-the-art training room so that we can host other police departments. They can come in, and when those type of trainings come in, we can put some of our officers in those trainings so they'll always be up to date on things. Just today, myself and Deputy Chief and one of our other officers went to a railroad safety class. There's plenty of railroads surrounding Dolton, through Dolton, and those railroads aren't going away. So now we know, we've learned a little bit more on how to be safe around railroads, and if you come to our community policing meeting, we'll give you a little bit of information on that. Our community policing meetings are the last Thursday of every month. The last Thursday of every month. We've outgrown the police department. We've filled every seat in there. So our next venue, we're going to try to get it at the Park District. If not the Park District, hoping the Village Hall will open its doors so we can have our community policing meetings in there. So June 30th is our next meeting, and I would encourage everyone to come out, bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring family, bring the youth out so they can have their input in the community also. And one of the focuses that we will be talking about is identity theft. What to do if you're a victim and how to not become a victim of identity theft. And thank you for your attention. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. State Representative Will Davis and our police chief mentioned about railroads. We have currently 75 trains a day that run through the village of Dolton. Some of you probably experienced those crossings where you've been held up. Right now, what I'm working on is train whistles. At 2 o'clock in the morning, and you get 8 or 10 blasts on those train whistles, I don't really think it's necessary when there's not that much traffic. There's a lot of communities that have no whistle blowing in their communities, and I'd like to do the same here in the village of Dolton. So I'll probably reach out to one of these gentlemen, both of these gentlemen, to assist with contacting the 7 different railroads that travel through our village, and to reduce that whistle blowing. So, and I know over in the valley, it's a big issue where they come downtown around the old Village Hall and Police Station. I failed to mention the fact that last year 2015, we paved 13 blocks with motor fuel tax money. We probably need another, I would say another 30 or so blocks in the village, which our village is a 4.8 mile radius, to actually see some safe patches on some of those streets. Some of those streets are terrible, but it's an average of $200,000, I'm sorry, $50,000 per block to get a street paved. So this year, we're fortunate enough to get the county block grant for $200,000, and we'll be able to pave, and we're going to use the west side of the village as a priority because some of those streets are really terrible. Michigan, Wabash, Ed Brook, that we will make those a priority in using that $200,000 that we've been granted by the county to resurface those streets. Right now, we're participating in a grant to upgrade the downtown area, which would include street lights, sidewalks, parkways, and curbs. We're not sure whether or not we're going to be awarded the grant, but we put in for it, and we're looking to start a revitalization of downtown, where we can bring more retail and other businesses into the downtown area. So hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, we can move forward to get some things done downtown. Now, I don't have anything further. Any of the trustees have anything to say? We were recently joined by Trustee Henry. Yes. You know what? Prior to you doing that, I'd like to bring up some of our 50-20 youth
Okay.
employees.
All of our 50-20 youth participants who are here, come on up.
Now, this is just 4 of the 50 that we've hired. And I'm just going to let them tell you a little bit briefly about who they are and what they do right now in the village, what department they work in, and how it's benefiting them.
Hello, everyone.
We can hear
Hello,
you.
everyone. Yes, my name is Juanita Hawkins. I'm a student at Illinois State University currently, and I'll be graduating in December. I'm majoring in communications, mass media, radio broadcasting specifically. My voice is a little. But anyhow, yeah, I found out about this opportunity from my dad, just being in the area, in the neighborhood, and he came across Mr. Trish. And he was willing and great to help with me. I needed an internship for the summer, and then also the 50-20 program. I found out about that, and that was just great. Find out a way that I can actually make some money and also contribute to my resume and for when I get into my career and everything like that. And working in the office with Mr. Trish as he assists the mayor, I've been learning a lot of stuff. Like just over being there for the week, I've learned so much, and it's really broadened my horizon for politics and things like that, and it's a really good program.
Hi, my name is Rhea, and I attend Thornridge High School. I'm going in sophomore year next year, and I came across this program working with Miss Elizabeth Scott, the Chief of Staff. I was her intern beforehand, and now I am working in the 50-20 program as well. And I wanted to go into politics, and I think this is really going to help me with my decision in college and just in life in general. Thank you.
My name is Natalie White. I just graduated from Thornridge of 2015. I will be going into the military, the armed forces to be exact. I will be studying in the medical department to become a pediatric surgeon. I found out about the 50-20 program because I go to all the board meetings. I don't know if you guys know, but youth, we do go. But I went to a board meeting, and the mayor and the trustees was telling us that they're going to start a 50-20 program. And I was telling my mom, I'm like, I need to get in this program. Yes, this is going to help me for the summer. So I followed up every day to see when it will start. I called, I went up there, and usually you don't see youth like us. We don't call, we don't go up there. We just find out something, and we just say, well, maybe I'll hear about it later on. So because I have that type of mother that gets on me every day, I decided I'm going to do this on my own. So I went up there and I talked to Mr. Trish, I talked to Ms. Scott, and I also talked to the trustees. And we went through an orientation, and we learned a lot. And then we went and we filled out paperwork, and we also got to meet each other. And based on everybody, the few people that are up here, I've learned a lot from each one of them, especially Miss Juanita. She's a very good example to us youth. And going to college and sticking to college. So I've learned a lot. I work with the village clerk, Miss Mary Kay. I've learned so much. I don't even know if I have brain space anymore. But I would really love to continue learning with Miss Mary Kay. She's a very important part of the village. She does a very important job, which I did not understand until now. So I really want to thank the mayor and the trustees for this opportunity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roya Allen, and I'm going into my junior year at Thornridge High School. And I found out about the 50-20 program from my uncle. I had pretty much given up on looking for jobs because as you get older, you need money to get through high school and do things you want to do. But I was having complications, and I'm happy my uncle pushed me to come because I kind of felt like I wasn't going to get picked for the 50-20. And since it was a lottery, I was kind of nervous, and my name came out in the last three. I was ready to cry, but it came out, and I was happy, and I heard my best friend's name come out before mine, and I was happy that we all got those opportunities. And I work with the water department, and I feel like that is a great opportunity to work with different types of people because I want to work in business and administration. I have to deal with lots of different personalities, and it's kind of hard to deal with certain people, but I feel like this is a great opportunity to have that experience and work with everybody at the same time, be diligent in my own work.
Now, Mayor, if I may just make a brief statement. You're looking at these four young ladies.
Hold a minute. Who are you?
Oh, okay. My name is Ashad. I work out of the mayor's office. I've been here for about the last 3 months, and I've had a chance to speak to many of you all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve. All right. So while you're looking at these four young ladies who have really done a lot in the office, a lot of times these programs that go after young people, they go after the elite students, the achievers. And so typically when that happens, you pretty much get out of 50, you'll have 40 girls and maybe 10, young men. But because we did this via lottery, we have a lot more men. I think our initial breakdown was like 25, 26 men. It was actually more men or young men than women. And so what that is, And so what we had the opportunity to do is put them with people like Mr. Thigpen and Chief Collins and Deputy Chief Mobley and Deputy Chief Rush and Trustee Muhammad, myself and the mayor. And we've had the opportunity to mentor some of these young men. And just after about 5 or 6 days, you can actually tell that this is something that they needed. So I just want you all to know that it's beyond the money and it's beyond just to have the opportunity to put somebody to work. It really, really is going to change the destiny of some of these children. They're getting a chance to learn a lot. So thank you for your support, Mayor and the trustees who have been involved. And we also like to thank all of the department heads who have actually worked with them to actually get them together. Some of them had job experience, some of them had no job experience, no training, and they've been working out really well. We haven't had any problems. The couple of problems that we had, we've been able to straighten them out okay and keep those people on the straight and narrow.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 50-20 employees. One thing I like to say is that you see the smiles on these young ladies' face? They get the opportunity, and in some cases, learn how to fill out applications, learn how to fill out complete resumes, learn how to answer phones and interact with the public. You know, when you work with the public, you got to be a little bit more thick-skinned, you know. The public demands are really great. So they're learning. These are great opportunities to be able to put them into the workforce. And when we do our cross-training, we do an evaluation after 4 weeks. Some of those young ladies and some of the young men will go into other areas to work and get additional experience. Now, one of the things with the inception of this 50-20 program, you know, and Shad touched on it a little bit, is that a lot of times when employment opportunities come up for the youth in the summer, it says, okay, here's Johnny. He's got 3.8 grade average. Let's give him a job. And then, you know, here's Shirley over here. She's got a 4.0. Let's give her a job. But some of those students and youth, and we didn't make this just for students. We made it from 16 years old to 24 years old. Some of them don't have the opportunity because they're not A students. That doesn't make them bad people. So what we wanted to do was to make sure that they were included, was to have them participate, and then we pulled the lottery, and some of those ones that participated were able to get selected, and they're gainfully employed for 8 weeks. So I think everybody has a talent, and in some cases you have to pull it out of them or help them develop that talent. But just because you can't get the 4.0 or 3.8 or whatever it is, that doesn't mean that you cannot contribute and participate, and you should not be looked over for programs like this. So thank you very much, 50-20 people, and we're going to get on with our question and answer session. So, Shad, how are we going to do this?
What we're going to ask, Mayor, is that if you have a question, we'd like for you to come around if you can. We can also bring the mic to you, but if you can, it'll help us organize it better. If you could come over to this microphone, we want to record your comments, and we want to get you on video so that when other residents have the opportunity to look at this, they'll be able to hear your question and see and hear the answer. So here, but if you can't get up, if it's medically difficult for you, I'll bring a mic over for you as well. So.
Okay. And it's not just for questions. If you got some complaints, we want to hear those too.
Questions, complaints?
Now, one of the reasons that I've asked for all the department heads to be here is the fact that if any of those complaints are directly related to their department, then they need to address them. But I have Elizabeth Scott, and I didn't introduce her tonight. She's my chief of staff. Stand up, Elizabeth. Elizabeth will be taking notes. Any one of these department heads that you have a question or complaint that affects their department, they will be taking notes, and we will do our best to try to remedy the situation. If you have any questions that you want to direct to either one of the state representatives, they're here to answer those questions for you. And if not, myself or they will be able to.
And if you want to say someone did a great job, you can do that too. Doesn't have to be all complaints. If somebody.
Good evening, Mayor. I just want to ask you, Elizabeth, she's great. I've known about her even before I met her, but my question is in the future, are we going to see any programs for seniors as far as helping them to take care of their day-to-day activities? I guess it's coming from a personal situation because I'm dealing with my mom, and you know, a lot of times they don't know the things that are out here, the opportunities that they have, you know, the services that they can get. And I think because Dolton is an aging community, that we need to have some type of, you know, service or department that they can go to, a number that they can call or something where they can get information. I mean, it's so many things that I'm just, you know, learning out about aging parents and just aging period. I would like to see our office, Dolton, have something that we can go to.
Well, one of the trustees has proposed a $50,000 funding for seniors. Now, I suggested that we put a committee together and figure out how we're going to utilize that $50,000 if it's awarded in the budget. The budget is passed. One of the things is that our community, it's a blue-collar community, within the next 7 to 10 years, there'll be about 72% of this population that'll be seniors on fixed income. A lot of those seniors will be living off of Social Security. A lot of the seniors weren't fortunate enough to have 401k retirement plans or private pension plans and things like that. And some were sole breadwinners and single household and single parents. So it's a problem that we're going to have to address as our community becomes an aging population. Now, what type of assistance that we can give you is yet to be determined. One of my things that I wanted to do is to create a Department of Aging, even if it's not, but to direct you in the right direction. Find out what funds are available to assist you, whether it's on the state level, county level, or local level, township level, whatever, so that you won't have to make 30 phone calls to get to where you need.
To get to where you need.
So that would be very helpful. And then, of course, we're dealing with the stalemate in Springfield, and as all the budgets are cut and the belts are tightened, that's another problem that we have to face. But certainly in the future, I'd like to develop this Department of Aging and, in fact, staffed it with volunteers and or people that work with seniors. So, because that helps cut through a lot of the red tape and be able to assist you in getting to the right direction. So,
Thank you, Mayor.
okay, Dan.
I'll be your first volunteer.
All right, great.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and all of the elected officials and all of my co-residents. My name is Mr. Cohens. I'm a resident over on Sunset Drive, and I felt it was important enough for me to come out here and mention some of the things that concern me, and you happen to mention every last one of them. Okay. So, since I did come here, so I want to reiterate some of them. The paving of the streets, yeah, they're horrible. They're killing my car, and I know they're killing everybody else's car. So I'm glad you touched on that. One of my main concerns, and you touched on it again, was that traffic light at 154th. It's 2016, and it shouldn't take that long. I listened to the last village meeting, and you mentioned it then. And I think that, and like I said, I'm on Sunset Drive, and I'm just north of 154th. And that light has been out for about 2 months. And I think that's ridiculous. It's 2016 again. I reiterate that. I don't live on Hastings, but I want you to take note of a very distressed property at 15206 Hastings.
It's on the demolition list.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Okay, and that was my concerns. I don't know if, I guess, I just moved back to Dolton about 3 years ago. I don't know who takes care of dying trees. You know, do I have to take care of that, or is that Public Works?
Trees?
Dying trees.
Dying
yeah.
trees.
Dying.
Believe it or not, where's the tree located?
There are 2 of them in front of my house.
Okay.
And they're on that little strip of grass that's by the curb.
Okay. Believe it or not, there's an ordinance in place that says that the homeowner must take care of those trees on the parkway. But realistically, I know you don't have a ladder and scaffolding equipment to try to trim those trees. What we have been doing is, and we started last year, was prioritizing the trees that need to be taken down. So what we did was going through the village, we started working on the trees that had, where the roots had really grown crazy and they were uplifting portions of the sidewalk that made passage kind of difficult. You know, kids riding bikes or seniors in wheelchairs or things passable. So we took down those trees first, and then we took up that portion of the sidewalk and replaced a portion of the sidewalk. Then we went and started cutting trees down that had the ash borer beetle.
Okay.
Because what happens is when this tree is diseased, when they get through eating this tree, they go to the next one, the next one, the next one. So we identified some trees that were really in bad shape, identified some trees, and I took out Trustee Pearson identified some trees that we actually saw the beetles inside, eating from the inside out. And you can see, and you can know that the trees are diseased by this beetle affecting the trees. If you look at some of the trees and it's bare on the top and it's got leaves on the bottom,
Right.
a lot of times they go up towards the top and start eating their way down. And then they'll jump to another tree and not even finish that one off. So we make a determination, and get the tree guys that come in, we make a determination that if it's a priority to take that tree down, and how infected it is, and how the likelihood of those beetles jumping from tree to tree to where they can actually disease the whole block.
One last thing,
Yes,
and I'm
sir.
out of your hair. Very quickly, it's not in front of my property, but maybe a year ago, water main break in front of 15244. You guys came out and repaired that water main.
And they didn't finish the landscape.
Yes,
We're
yes.
We're revisiting those water main breaks, and we're doing in some cases we have to place curbs.
Yes.
In some places we have to put in fill and plant grass or grass seeds. So hopefully this year that'll get done. They've got the address, but we've started that process.
I'm done.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marion Guy, and I've been a resident of Dolton for 28 years. I've seen a lot of changes, lots and lots of changes. Sometimes I think I'm living in Chicago, but I know I'm not. Today I had some concerns. Sometimes when I come with some concerns, I do try to come with solutions as well. One of the concerns being the water bills and people getting water bills that were already paid. I paid my water bill early, but I got a notice in the mail saying that I was past due on a water bill with the current water bill. I did go straighten it out. I was told I was going to get back to young lady told me she was going to get back to me the following week, because I think I got the water bill at 4:30. 5 o'clock they were closing, so she didn't have time. 5 o'clock she was off. So they have not contacted me, but I will be up there. Anyone who knows me know that I will be up there eventually. I'm trying to find out, is there a glitch in the system? I know it's new tech, because I have my neighbors, they come to me because they know I've been in Dolton for a long time, and they say, I got a cutoff notice, what do I do? And I send them in the right direction, and it was taken care of. But what is going on? I'm trying to find out what is going on up there with the water department, whereas the entries that they're putting in, it seems like that's what's going on. It's a computer tech problem. Maybe I can pose that to you, because I saw that you were in the water department.
Yeah.
So has there been, I know a lot of people have been coming up there complaining about getting water bills.
Now, you asked about 4 or 5 questions.
Okay, my thing is, I know, how many people in here received past due notices and they paid their bill?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I address something?
Yeah.
Okay. We have had some issues in our water department,
Okay.
and we're trying to correct them. We brought in a new manager of our water department. He comes with how many years' experience from East Chicago, Indiana, in the water department? How much, right? 11 years' experience in the water department. As you can see, our water billing is done differently now in regards to how the bills are mailed out. Eventually, I'd like to go to a monthly water billing process. That way, if there is some irregularities, we can catch it sooner. The other thing is, if it's more manageable, to pay a 1-month bill versus a 3-month bill. So that's something I'd like to introduce and bring to the water department. Now, getting back to some of the errors, we're actually working on that. We brought in a new computer system. It didn't, how can I say, it didn't.
So you are aware of it, in
We're
other
aware
words.
of it.
Okay.
And to be quite frank with you, a lot of these towns are having problems in their water department. It's one of the biggest issues in these villages is water and water management. Now, we get our water from the city of Chicago. We had a 5-year increase, starting with a 25% increase over a 5-year period. Now, that expense was not passed off to the residents, and the city absorbed that expense, which was improper. But water is one of the most expensive things that the village has to purchase. And in actuality, and we can get those in comparison to some other towns, we're actually very cheap in regards to some of our neighbors of what they're charging for water. I know in the village of Hazel Crest, I'm not sure if you've heard this, you represent Hazel Crest, don't you? Village of Hazel Crest, they have, and I'm not singling them out, you know, I'm just Venture Calumet City. Okay, and I'm not singling them out. And I know my son and daughter live there, and they always, Dad, my water bill's high. But we did a comparison, Stan. We had the list in regards to some of the other suburbs that join us, and we were significantly lower with our water rate than a lot of the other towns. Now, I'm not sure exactly what our rate is today. $5.61 per unit. And there's some rates up to 18 point something when they buy water from other municipalities. So we're looking into that. We're trying to make this work out better for everybody. All I can say is that if you do have a complaint and you feel there's some irregularity in your bill, to come to the village and just try to get it straightened out.
The irregularity is you go up there and you pay, they give you a receipt, but then they send you a bill saying you didn't pay it. So I advise everyone to keep their receipts.
Now sometime if you pay it and the billing process has started, you may get that. But now it should, I'm just saying, I'm not sure if that's the case.
We pay
But it
way
should say,
in advance.
but it should say on there if you have, and I'm not sure if our bills say that, if you have already paid this bill, disregard this notice. So whatever it is, please help her and work it out, Brian, okay?
Okay. Another concern of mine is, I'm aware that Dolton has been declared a low economic community. And I am also aware that Dolton is growing with seniors. The senior population is growing. But like I said, I've been in Dolton for 28 years. Last year and this year is the first time I have ever received tickets. What do you call them? Tickets, no, not red light tickets, but just tickets for violations. Violations for different things. I do take care of those too because they're not. One time I didn't even get the ticket in the mail, and I went up there and took care of it, found out they never sent me a ticket. But one thing I want to say is a lot of residents do not know the laws and the rules of Dolton. When they move into Dolton, they do not get a pamphlet or anything saying, this should be, this shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? You should do this, you shouldn't do this. Your grass shouldn't be up this high. Garbage cans should go out no earlier than 7. They don't know these things. Okay, give them a warning ticket. Don't give them a ticket. Give them a warning ticket so that, because there was a time they would give you a warning ticket and then you go to court and you show that it was rectified, they'll come back out, and then that was dispersed. Now they're just getting tickets, because I have people coming to me as well. I don't know whether they think I'm the mayor or the block club president or whatever, but you get the tickets and then you have to go to court, and then some people go and they just they go after you like that when they don't, because you have different mindsets that's moving into Dolton and they don't know how to come to you correctly. So therefore the person, the judge or whoever is going to say, pay it. You follow what I'm saying? I hear about those things too. But give warnings first. Don't just give tickets and then, I've gotten tickets for stickers on my car in April, and the sticker, the city sticker wasn't due until June. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we have people in the backyards looking and taking pictures and, you know, coming in your backyards. I guess they're inspectors, I don't know who they are. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but give the people a warning first before you give them tickets, because people, this area is a low economic area and they do not have money to pay $50, $100, $200. You understand what I'm saying? Give them a chance to correct what's wrong on their property. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Shut
All
up.
right.
That's
Okay.
all. One more thing.
Okay.
I have a street light in the middle of 145th and Sanderson. You can't see the street light. It's dark on that block because of the trees.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll replace it and we'll trim around that tree light.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
Tomorrow,
thank you.
Matt. Tomorrow. Now, let me say something about the street lights. If it's a wooden pole, it's ComEd. If it's a metal pole, it's the Village of Dolton. So, in some of the parts of Dolton, the only lights that are in those blocks are wooden poles and they're ComEd poles. So, if that light is out and you notify us, or if we see that it's out, we notify ComEd, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer process than if it's a village pole. And in some cases, we have, depending on the area and in the safety part of it, we have replaced ComEd's lights and fixtures, and they really don't like us to do it. But we take into account each individual situation before we go forward to actually tamper with their lights. So keep that in mind. If it's a wooden pole, you may want to call ComEd directly yourself. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You, members of our village officials and our state representatives, you hear a lot of negative stuff. I'm not going to do that, okay? I want to compliment, first of all of the departments in the village, because I've had nothing but good relationships with all of them. Water department, police department. I was down at the fire department the other day, and those guys was just terrific in giving me information and stuff that I needed. Now to my questions. In regards to the home sales in Dolton, do we know whether or not those homes are being sold to private owners or to investors? I have a reason for asking the question.
The Department of Housing knows whether they're private owners or investors.
Yes, you do know. You do know, okay. The reason I'm asking, of course, is because some of the elements that are moving into some of our neighborhoods, they're somewhat questionable, okay? On those, this is for the fire department. On our hydrants, I look at those hydrants and some of them look like they're a little older than me. And I'd like to know whether or not they're ever tested to know whether or not the water pressure, comes up in the event there is a fire, in an area. And I was just wondering, those things don't like they've been tested in years, like they've never even been touched. Does anybody ever check those?
Well, fire department and public works do test the hydrants. They should be getting into a program now with the summer here. They do test them, and fire department and public works do test the hydrants. They run flow tests. They pedo test them. We should be starting a program with the fire department now that summertime is here.
Oh, okay. The ordinances that the lady was talking about, where people should be aware of the do's and don'ts, here in Dolton, I think that was a good idea because she's right. A lot of us don't really know, what we are supposed to and what we're not supposed to do, as residents of Dolton. So if you guys could get something together on that, we'd really appreciate that. Okay, for current residents and new residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor. I came in late to the meeting, so I don't know. I know you talked about paving the streets and all of that. I wanted to make sure that Diekman Elementary School is also on the list for paving because that street is terrible.
We've patched it several times, and there's a sewer problem right there, a low sewer on the east side of the street. But I understand, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very terrible.
Right.
And it gets worse because school buses,
Right. Right.
travel on the street.
Right.
So if that street could be on the list,
Yes.
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
In addition to, I was wondering, is it possible to get a sign at the Dolton Bowling Alley to say, "Do not block the intersection" at the bowling alley? Intersection, right, at the bowling alley.
You're talking about where they turn off of Sibley into?
Yeah. Correct, onto Diekman.
Now, that's a state maintained road, that's Illinois 83. So we would have to petition or ask the Department of Transportation
For a sign?
For a sign, and what they do is they come out and they assess the situation. If they feel that a sign is needed, then they would install a sign. But we have no authority to place a sign on State Route Illinois 53 83 to govern traffic.
Okay.
So we can take a look at it, Matt. We got a good relationship with Department of Transportation, so we can have them come out and take a look at
That
it.
would be wonderful.
Okay.
Because traffic, I have to turn onto that street all the time.
Right.
And they always blocking it so that you can't make a turn. So
Right.
it would eliminate congestion right there.
Once, it is kind of a problem intersection because the distance from Lincoln and the stoplight there, the distance from Lincoln to Dorchester is very small.
Yeah, very short.
So the traffic is speeding, it's kind of high traffic area.
I understand, I agree.
Because I've tried to turn this several times. Sometimes you got to look all kind of ways to make sure you don't get rear-ended, and and it's very difficult to cross with the eastbound traffic.
Yeah.
And if you got 4 or 5 cars that say the first car stops there to make a left turn, and you got 4 or 5 other cars behind you that want to make a left turn, it actually impedes the flow of traffic on the inside lane going westbound. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay?
And one other thing, I live on 153rd in Diekman.
Right.
There's the sidewalk on 152nd in Diekman is raised.
I know.
Very high.
I know.
Okay.
There
It's on
should
the
be
list?
some marks that's on the list.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. You're doing a great job then. Thank you.
I think we took a couple of trees down in that block. I think we took a couple of trees down that block. If the 152nd, yeah. I've been over. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Linda Walker, and I'm a long-term resident of Dolton. I've been out here approximately 30 years. I am concerned about the red light cameras that we have, and one in particular is the one right there at Sibley, I think in Lincoln or Michigan, that intersection there. And actually, I think that the camera is malfunctioning. It's because, I'm concerned because, yes, I got a red light ticket. And, but let me say this. I have a certificate in defensive driving. I drove for CTA. I taught people how to drive. And so I'm very, very keen on driving defensively. So I don't take driving. Driving to me is a privilege. So, and I don't abuse it. And my driving record is outstanding. And that's why I'm a little disturbed about that light up there. And I know that the people here in Dolton, a lot of them are financially challenged, and it's a burden on us to have that there. But for it not to be functioning properly, it's just wrong. Because people are getting tickets that shouldn't be getting them, So, you have to, the single women, as I suggested to you, that have children, we have a lot of single mothers out here, they've got to make a decision. Should I buy my babies some food, or should I pay this $100 ticket? Should I pay this big water bill, or should I pay this $100 ticket? So you know which one they're gonna do. So this is going, if you look at it in a long-term effect, just think about what type of effect this is gonna have on the residents here in Dolton. This is just not, and I really didn't know who to address this question to, Representative Davis or Representative Jones. And I don't know who's actually responsible for, putting red lights out here in Dolton, when I know they're trying to get rid of all of the red lights in Illinois. And this is we're like I said, we're financially challenged out here, and it's just gonna put undue hardship on us. So I just wanna know, are you gonna let them stay out here? Are you gonna put policemen? I got a solution if you wanna hear it. I got a solution.
Station 2 SWAT cars there.
Yes, once you get some more officers, right?
Prior to me coming in the office, there were red light cameras, right, at Sibley and Lincoln.
I don't think they were working.
Well, there were red light cameras there.
Okay.
There were red light cameras on Woodline and Sibley.
Okay.
And there were red light cameras, what's the other location, Chief? I'm sorry. 142nd and Lincoln.
Okay.
Now, everybody want to get rid of the red light cameras, especially those that have gotten tickets from it. Now, and I hear you when you say some of them are malfunctioning.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure when they come out and test them, Stan. Okay. They're tested monthly by the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to getting those red lights installed at those locations, because we had 4 before,
Mm-hmm.
the Illinois Department of Transportation, they come out and do a study in regards to the amount of flow of traffic, the number of accidents, and they make the determination where we can actually put red light cameras in the village.
Okay.
Now, they took the one away at Woodlawn. Okay, we had 4, we're down to 2. Because there was one on Woodlawn and Sibley, and I can't remember where the other one was. So they determined that, sure, we're going to give you red light cameras, but in these 2 other particular spots, we're going to take them out. Now, and driving is a privilege. That's what it says in the Secretary of State's
Absolutely.
book. It's a privilege. Now, some drivers think that if they slow, that's stopping. But the definition in the dictionary for stop
Complete
is
stop.
the cease movement of all wheels.
Right.
That means a complete stop. Now, one of the biggest problems here in the village of Dolton, and the police chief and I have discussed this, and we put on additional patrols in those areas, is running stop signs. And another area is going around stop school buses when children are trying to cross.
Mm-hmm.
And for a number of years, there has not been any traffic enforcement on these corners where stop signs were. Greenwood was like the Indy 500. And there hasn't been enforcement. So, but the residents don't know and are not aware of how many traffic accidents that we have. And we have our number, and one of those numbers is on Sibley Boulevard. Now, when you talk about, well, the Dolton residents don't have the money to pay the tickets, I understand that completely. But believe it or not, most of the traffic that travels on Sibley Boulevard is not Dolton residents. We have about 25,000 cars a day travel on Sibley Boulevard. They're not all from Dolton. So, I'm saying, and I got a red light ticket not here in the village. I thought the light wasn't being, I thought that I had stopped, and I tried to stop because I know, and I've seen all the controversy in the newspapers about red light cameras, but they said I didn't stop. And, but at any rate, I really don't know how to answer the fact of trying to have enforcement to try to reduce accidents, and certainly we don't have 2 police officers that can maintain that corner. Now that's a high volume. It's a crazy intersection, and you got to watch all kind of ways. You got people exiting off the expressways, getting over into the left lane that they're not supposed to do, to try to turn on Lincoln Avenue. They cut off traffic. I mean, it's a dangerous corner, and we have accidents at that corner. So I'm not sure what's the right answer to to tell you in regards to, you know, not having a red light camera there.
Okay, well, no disrespect, Mayor, but, you know, maybe you could put some officers there during the rush hour only, just to watch for the ones that are running the lights or speeding or making incorrect turns on a red when they shouldn't, or whatever.
Okay.
But I'm just concerned because it's definitely going to put a hardship on the people here in Dolton. In the long run, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
And then you're going to have people losing their license. They're not going to, yeah, well, if they stop, but if the ticket, the camera,
Hold on a minute.
the red light camera is not working properly. It's not working properly.
Well, you know, what we can do is we can notify the Department of Transportation. Like I said, we have an excellent relationship with the Department of Transportation. I asked them to come out and cut our ramps last Thursday. They were out there Friday morning cutting our ramps.
Okay, well, just check that.
Sometimes we get forgotten about those ramps, but anyway, we got a good relationship.
Okay.
Matt, call them in the morning, let them come out and test the lights.
Please.
Yes, ma'am.
And also, I'd like to commend you on your 50/20 program. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Chief.
Just real quick about the red light cameras. Every violation that goes out, it's not the camera that sends these violations out. Every single violation is reviewed by a police officer, and a police officer either approves that violation or he dismisses it. When we see the footage, when people stop, it gets dismissed. Now, some people said, well, there's no sign up there that you can't turn on red. You can turn on red. You have to come to a complete stop. And when the mayor said about driver behavior, the cameras are designed to change driver behavior. If you've gotten a ticket at that location, it's probably guaranteed that you won't do that again. So hence, the driver behavior has changed. We get a ton of accidents on Sibley. Sibley is probably the area where 90% of our accidents occur, and some of them are very, very serious. In fact, last month we had an accident at Lincoln and Sibley where the backseat passenger was thrown out of the rear window because someone ran the red light and hit them. They were nearly killed. They're lucky to be alive. They have a lot of broken bones and a lot of therapy they're going to have to go through. But it's designed for safety, to change driver behavior. And those in the front that can see this little video on my phone here real quick. That car that just went through, that light had been red for 10 seconds. There's no trying to beat the light. That was a deliberate drive through there. Now, what if that car hit a mother and her children or took out an entire family? And that's the kind of things that police officers can't be everywhere at the same time, but we have to take positive steps to promote public safety. And red light cameras, unfortunately, it comes with a price, a monetary price. But imagine the catastrophe if we don't change driver behavior. People lose their lives out there. 50,000 people across the nation die every year in traffic accidents, just traffic accidents alone. So unfortunately, yes, it's a $100 ticket. And if you got it, I'm sorry you got the ticket, but you probably won't run that red light or fail to stop at that light again.
Not that one.
And if you get a ticket, there's a way to see your video. Look it up, go online, type in the numbers that they ask you to type in, and watch the video. And a lot of times people say, well, I thought I stopped, but looking at the video, I barely tapped the brakes going around that corner or going through the light. So if you have questions about it, you can always come to the police department. We'll review the video with you. And also, if there's a hardship, that you can go to court and tell the hearing officer about the hardships. They're human too. They'll listen to you. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, State Reps.
Thanks, Chief. I just want to say one thing.
Go right ahead.
Yesterday was court date. There was 219 people in court. Most of them were red light cameras. All of them were red light cameras. And 27 were Dolton residents. So if you look at the percentage of traffic that actually goes through there in regards to Dolton residents that are receiving tickets, it's a higher percentage of out-of-town commuters that actually violate those those traffic signals. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I got several questions. My first question was identical to this gentleman, the gentleman who preceded me, to his question. The only difference is that I wanted to know a percentage, investors versus residents.
Okay, I don't have that number. Maybe if you talk with Denise through the day, she can give you that number. I am going to say that, correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, that most of the purchases have been investors.
But we have a higher percentage now of owners in the last 2 years that have been purchasing.
Okay. Did you hear that? Most of them have been investors, but we have a higher percentage now of homeowners that are been purchasing property.
Okay.
One of the things that the first-time homeowners and homeowners that move in is challenging for them is the credit process, and the banks have really, the banks have suffered a lot of losses in regards to mortgages and things like that, and they're stricter in regards to financing and stuff like that. So that's been kind of a hindrance on a lot of the people that want to come in and purchase homes.
Okay.
So,
all right. And also I wanted to know, who are the owners of the homes that the village has credit for selling? Who owns the homes that the village has taken credit for selling? Were these bank-owned homes?
well, it's a variety. I mean, there's a number of homeowners that sell their homes. There's a number of mortgage companies that sell homes.
So when we talk about the 29 that was sold, this month? This past month, we're talking about bank-owned and private property. Okay, just wanted to be clear on that. Next issue, Representative.
Can you raise the mic and speak into the mic, so because some of the residents may have the same question that you had asking, it would help.
Representative. Representative Jones, right? Okay, no. Representative Davis. I'm sorry. You know you guys look alike, right? So I used to catch the Metra quite often, but the last couple of months I haven't. But the last couple of weeks I've been increasing, going back to work, catching the Metra. And prior, I would say back in October, November, even August, there was a man and a woman that would be outside cleaning up under the viaduct and stuff. But right now, there's no signs of anyone cleaning up anything. Is there a yes, the metro station, the viaduct by the metro station. Yes.
Has the responsibility of cleaning underneath the viaduct.
Exactly, but the two people that used to do it, they were Harvey employees.
They were Harvey employees?
Yes.
Well, if they were dispatching their streets and stands department to do it, then if they stopped doing it, then they made an internal decision not to do it. The road, I believe it's an IDOT thoroughfare, so they will do some maintenance on the road. If there's something specific, you can contact my office. We'll ask them to come out and try to address it. But if Harvey employees were doing it and they're no longer doing it, then that's a City of Harvey decision not to have them do it anymore.
Okay, because it's kind of disgusting. You know, you got debris, you got glass, you know, you have women that's walking through there in heels, elderly women trying to catch the train. Okay. It's a safety hazard. So
we will at least try to find out whose responsibility it is, and so
okay.
I should give you my card, and you should give me a call, and we can talk about it.
Thank you. Okay. Police chief, the patrols. I would like to know how our community is patrolled, and the reason why is because on 144th, the intersection of 144th and Dorchester, they set a car for almost a month. The car appeared to be abandoned, no stickers or anything. And I figured, you know, after a couple of days, you know, a police car come through, see them, and at least cite them. It never happened. They put a sticker on it, then they took it off. So I don't, you know, I just like to know how often our area is being patrolled. How often do we have cars coming through there?
Okay, the question is about how our patrol, basically patrol patterns, and how the town is broken up very recently into 4 zones. Each zone, well, actually it's a beat. There's 1 officer per beat. That officer is responsible for whatever occurs in that beat. Very recent, or past recent, it was 3 zones, but it was very big, unmanageable, a lot of activity going on, hard for 1 police officer to handle 1 zone. So we took a proactive step in breaking it up so that the officer can manage that beat a little bit more. Now, depending on the time of day and depending on the time of the year, determines how much activity is out there. The officer responsible for that zone, he can do one of 2 things. He can do proactive patrol, which is going around looking for crimes, looking for that type of stuff, abandoned vehicles and whatnot, or there's reactive patrol. Like on a day like today, it'll be a lot of reactive patrol because people are calling the police about things going on in their neighborhood. So when the officer has to go from one call to the next call to the next call to the next call till the end of his shift, there's not a lot of time to do proactive patrol. And that's where we rely on the citizens. If you see something in your neighborhood, take a note of it, give us a call, and then when we can, especially for abandoned autos, we can get the time over there to tag it and then later on tow it. We rely on the citizens to give us that kind of information because we won't see everything. And that just goes for not just abandoned autos, but for anything in your neighborhood. If you think that you might have to call the police, you probably should. If it's something you have to say about, you should probably call the police and let us come out there and check it out. So if you see abandoned autos in your neighborhood, take note, let us know. If you see like the houses that are boarded up and maybe there's a board missing off of it, we probably should come over there and check that out. So we rely on you to give us a call when you see things like that. If it's still there, let me have the location and I'll make sure somebody goes over there and take care of it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Which transitions into my next question is probably a question for you. I've called too many times about a neighbor of mine who is selling drugs out of the house. And I understand that there could be something going on, I just don't know, but I just see this guy freely selling heroin and his customers, and you know what heroin customers look like, on a regular basis. And
right. Out of safety for you, this is a public meeting and it is being recorded and probably be aired. Do not give the address or the location. Let's speak afterwards about that. But I'm going to tell everybody about drug activity. When you call the police and the officers show up, when that squad car shows up, everything ceases. Everything's fine and dandy. It's like playing whack-a-mole. You knock it down, guess what? When we leave, it comes right back up. Now, there are some places that we do have heavy-duty active investigations going on. I won't reveal the locations, but because you might see that, that doesn't mean we don't see it. We have to collect evidence, especially if you say it's out of the house. The Fourth Amendment gives a lot of protection, and we just can't go willy-nilly up inside somebody's house. We have to have substantial probable cause to be able to do something like that. And the way we develop probable cause is to do an extensive investigation. So if you see it, take note, always call us and let us know what's going on. You may even have an opportunity to sit down with one of the investigators to give information that we probably don't know. So when you see that kind of stuff, make sure to call us, okay? Does that answer your question, sir? Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fanny Gordon, and I live at 15327 Sunset. And I want to applaud you, Mayor. I came to one of the board meetings, and I complained about my tree limbs on my house. The vermin was jumping on it and putting holes in my roof. You came out the next day. But also, in my complaint, I had about the sidewalk. That particular tree had uprooted the sidewalk, and nobody has done anything about that. I heard you mention tonight that you all had addressed some of the trees. That tree is very old in front of my house, and that tree sets up real high off, you know, on the, what you call it?
I came out to your house. I remember That was last year.
Last year, yes.
And we took the tree down.
You took the limbs down, not the tree.
The wrong house. But on Sunset, I know we've taken several trees down. We replaced some sidewalk there, but I apologize. But you're saying that the sidewalk is damaged there?
Yeah, it's been like that since, I've only been in Dolton since 2009. It was like that when I moved there.
Okay. What's the address, 153?
15327.
All right, we'll take a look at it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Barbara, how are you tonight? Okay.
I'm just here. I hope I'm not repeating what someone else has talked about. But I was with Mr. Oh, okay. But good evening, everyone, Mr. Mayor and my representatives. I was here Tuesday speaking with Brian regarding the water bill. And evidently there is something wrong with the water bill this month, this payment, because there was too many people there complaining about their water bill. And as long as I have been out here, I've never had a complaint about my water bill other than it's too high for 3 people. But the last time I paid was May 28th. And they told me, and I looked on my bill, they said it's November, December, January. So this bill is due June 29th. If I studied my calendar correctly, that's 1 month. I paid May 28th, and you told me it's due June 29th. That's 1 month that I'm paying another bill. So my next payment would be what? September, right? Hopefully. And I spoke with you yesterday, Brian, but I went over it and I went over it, and I'm still not pleased because I paid in May and now I'm paying again in June, and I want to know why. That's not 3 months.
All right, Barbara. Go ahead, Brian, if you want to address it.
As I explained to you yesterday, and Trustee Stubbs was there as well, there was a delay in the latter part of last year in sending out the bills. No, that would be impossible because at one point in time there was a delay in sending out the bills, and the village is now catching up in sending out the bills. So your bills are issued quarterly, so 4 times per year. And because the village is now catching up on sending the bills out to the residents, it would seem as if that you would be getting 2 bills closer to each other than getting them than 3 months apart. But you will still get 4 bills per year.
4 bills?
Yes.
So I expect the next one to be in September, correct?
That or thereabout, yes.
Okay. So I hope everything will be rectified, otherwise I'll be back to see you again.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
That'll be fine.
Okay. Now to my 2 representatives.
That's good, Barbara. One thing you did say, I've been here for all these years, and this is the first time I had a problem with my water bill.
Exactly. Other than I feel like I'm paying too much.
Yeah. Well, we all feel we pay too much, but at any rate, we're making some improvements in the water department, so.
Okay. But to my representatives, I think Mr. Jones represents me. I'm a state retiree. Is anything going to happen to my insurance?
If your question is dealing with the pension, is anything going to happen? Insurance or pension?
Insurance out of our pension check that we never had to do.
Are you a part of ASME or what?
I would be, but I'm a retired state employee. I did receive a letter that we were okay, but I saw in the paper where Arizona, 3 states is coming out of United Healthcare because there are quite a bit of sick senior citizens in those 3 states.
Well, the challenge may be, ma'am, is the fact that how far we are behind in paying your bills. That's probably the first thing. And I believe retiree health care is negotiated as part of the ASHME contract, which the governor and ASHME are fighting right now. So to answer your question about whether or not your co-pays or would go up or down, be a little premature to answer that question because of the negotiation going back and forth between the governor and ASHME at this point. But hopefully they're representing your interests. So I would encourage you to continue to talk to the ASHME representatives for retirees, to continue to voice your concern that you either don't want your premiums to go up or you don't want your services reduced.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Thelma Gant, and I live on Chicago Road. And one of my concerns is one Saturday I was driving down Sibley, and I noticed the restaurant, I don't want to say the name of the restaurant, but it was just so filthy. And they had customers through the drive-through, and I'm saying to myself, if it's so filthy on the outside, I wouldn't want to eat in there. So I'm wondering if we could better go around and look at the businesses and make sure that they do what they need to do to keep Dolton clean.
I agree with you. I can say that the health inspectors was out today going through restaurants. So if the outside appearance is a little bit different, Brian can, and they've been going up and down Sibley.
There was a lot of trash around the drive-through, and I just think when you open up, you should have your staff to come and clean up in the morning so it's fresh.
Right.
So I can say I was doing my clean up. It was still trash
Right.
all around this
Okay.
restaurant.
Okay, if you will let,
I just didn't want to say the name of the restaurant.
no, you don't have to say it publicly, but you
Yeah.
can let Brian know.
Yes, and also I wanted to tell you, my first time going to the payment center to pay my water bill, I had a very pleasant experience with Barbara. Came through the door, before I could say anything, good morning, you know, and it was just so refreshing.
Right.
And your staff represent you. If something go wrong with your staff, they looking at you. They ain't looking at them.
Right.
So I just want to let you know that the people in the payment center are just very pleasant.
Right.
You know, and that means a lot. A lot of people get up here and complain, but you got to tell some of the good stuff too. We
Right.
got some good stuff going on in Dolton too. It's not all bad.
Right.
And I ran away from Chicago to come to Dolton.
Right.
I've only had one bad experience here in Dolton at the CVS at the corner. They held the place up and I was held by gunpoint. That never happened to me in Chicago, but everything is good now. We haven't had no problems at CVS Pharmacy
Right.
up there on the corner, but I just want to just commend you. You're doing a wonderful job. I am a supporter, and I just want to see Dolton grow. The only other thing, I don't know if I missed some because I stepped out, I'm concerned about the Section 8. Is it a cap?
No.
How much Section 8 do we get in Dolton? Because I know South Highlands, they have a cap on that. They're not going to have a bunch of Section, and all Section 8 is not bad, but I do think we need to have a cap on it.
Well,
Because we don't want Dolton to turn into a little Chicago.
well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to say there is a need for Section 8. Secondly, I'm going to say is that, and correct me if I'm wrong if you know any better, and I was told by some legal advice that you cannot legally put a cap on Section 8. Now, if you put some things in place in regards to rental properties and who can qualify and what they must do to occupy those properties, that's one thing. But you can't discriminate and say, no more Section 8. Now, do you have something to say on that?
Well, I just want to add, ma'am, so to your point, I think a lot of the municipalities have been concerned about the influx, and I don't want to mischaracterize individuals who are transitioning and, you know, trying to find better lives for them and their families. But to your point, several municipalities over years have had concerns about that. So whether or not there's been attempts to try to address it or at least have dialogue, I happen to have had an opportunity to talk to the chairman of the board of the Chicago Housing Authority and the new director of the Chicago Housing Authority, and they both have agreed that they need to talk to suburban mayors about the transition of individuals from there, because we know what happened in Chicago. They tore down a lot of their housing and people left. And many of those folks aren't coming back, either because they found great opportunities out here, or where they were, it's not the same anymore, and they can't afford to go back in the manner in which they were there. So to your point, though, is that there will be some dialogue amongst suburban mayors and village presidents with Chicago Housing Authority, and we will certainly invite the Cook County Housing Authority to come so we can try to be on one page, one accord about that. Now, I think what the mayor is correct in terms of can't necessarily say we can't prohibit it, because again, as we talked about the housing situations, if you have private investors buying houses, you know, I think they have the right to accept a Section 8 voucher if they choose to do so. That is their right to do so. But I think we just want to have good relationships. You know, maybe there are resources that follow individuals that have not followed those individuals that communities like Dolton can take advantage of to make sure that we provide the appropriate education. So if they're living in a house now and they've been living in a tower all their lives, that's a transition. And how you maintain that is different.
I'm not talking about the people that's, well, like the grass. The owner is in charge of the grass. Like when you own a property, you taking care of your property.
But sometimes when you rent, that's an agreement between the landlord and the homeowner that the renter will cut the grass. Sometimes it is, but it's just a matter of dialogue, and we hope to bring that conversation to suburban mayors very soon, so that we can work through, you know, if there are resources that can follow individuals to help municipalities to be able to educate those residents that are now living in suburban communities and homes where they haven't had to do certain things before, that now they have to take care of things. So just to say, it won't fall on deaf ears. There will be some conversation, and we'll address, you know, if there are ways to cap or limit. I don't think there are, but it's a conversation that we need to have, and maybe there's ways we can work through with them, because
How do the other suburban areas make sure that they do what they need to do when they have Section 8? Like Naperville,
it's the same.
Tinley Park, how do they make sure that they take care of the property? And, you know, if the tenant have so many police come there so many times, what happens?
There are probably,
because I'm sure Naperville, they do something different than us.
I'll just say that there's conversation and how municipalities deal with it. You know, trust that your administration will try to address the situation to the best of their ability. There are probably some municipalities that are actually prohibiting illegally residents from coming. But you and I don't know that, you know, but you've got communities that are trying to be open-armed and welcoming and abide by the law, but there probably are some who are not. So we hope to flush all of that information out. That's
and
all.
Mayor Rogers, I'm about to leave, but I want to tell you, when I first moved out here in Dolton, I never seen excitement. I never wanted to come to a meeting. I never wanted to be a part. It's so much excitement and good stuff that's going on in Dolton. And people need to understand that, yeah, we got some problems. Things are not perfect. But for all the people that want to say bad things about Dolton, why don't you be a solution to the problem? And that's what I say to the people that want to sit back and try to say things. Be a solution to it. Why don't you come out into the meetings? You know, you have a lot of outsiders that's not even a part of Dolton coming to our meetings, looking at us, looking at all the mess that be going on with the board. You know, people, outsiders, people that don't even have a home in Dolton. You know, so.
It's, in some cases, you know, to be quite frank with you,
Oh, yeah, I know you think, Pierre.
it's difficult with a first-term mayor
Is this your place?
and not a unifying board to get things done. It's difficult for a first-term mayor with a unified board to get things done. A lot of cases where, you know, you want to make different things happen, and they say, well, we're used to doing it this way. We've always done it this way. Well, if it's not working, you got to try something else. And when you try other things, you want to bring in people like our elected officials here, you know, our state representatives, trustees that can see the vision of where we were and where we're trying to go. You know, the news media always monitor Dolton police traffic, because we're going to get some action, we're going to get some headlines. Well, I want to get off that radar. because they don't monitor all these towns' traffic. But we're going to monitor Dolton, and when we hear something, we're going to go out there and we're going to bring all the cameras, we're going to put them on the front page. That doesn't do any good for our credibility. So what we have to do is we have to get known for the good things that we do. So the things that are publicized that are negative, we also need to publicize the things that are positive. And what happens then, people feel safe when we get good police and good police service. When people start moving into houses, those houses become occupied. They don't become havens for hangouts or drug activity. So it's those type of things, and when we do things right and we toot our horn, we get people to move in. We sell a lot of houses. Now, it's unfortunate that some people don't qualify for mortgages and they're not able to move in. And the investors buy, and what do they want to do? They want to rent and make sure that they can, whether they borrow the money to do rehabs or whether they borrow the money to make the purchase, they want to be able to be sustain that property. So, you know, everybody has to play a part. And when the negative issues come out and they blow their horn the loudest and it realistically come to board meetings, it's embarrassing. You know, I hear it when I go to places. I go to Washington. One of the mayors say, hey, I live in Alabama. I just look at your board meetings. My sister lives in California. She sees our board meetings. And you know, how can you address it? Now, if you look at some of the things that go on TV, and over in the UK, how they get up and punch each other, stand on tables and strangle each other, you know, it happens in the political world. But I'm not suggesting it, like State Rep said, we're not suggesting it. But everybody doesn't see things the same way. And, you know, it's difficult to make things happen, especially with limited funding and limited support. So we just move forward and go forward the best we can, try to make improvements here. And I'm going to say this. We got to make this quick. We're supposed to be out of here at 8:30. Ms. Creighton, you'll be the last person. If we can make it brief, both of you, because there's two people I wanted to say something. I want Sandra Wells to come up and say something about the housing situation. She lives here in Dolton. She was the National Housing Association. And there was one other person I wanted to say something. But we'll figure it out. Okay, Diane. Okay,
I'm going to make it quick. I'm just reiterating on what other people said about their water bill. My water bill went from the minimum, which I think is $108 every quarter, to $622. Okay, I read the meter, brought it back. They sent me out another bill. I talked to Brian. This bill still came out to be $139. So there is a problem with this water. And I also want to know is if you go monthly, are we supposed to read our meters monthly? Or, I mean, how is that going to work?
Well, I'm going to say this. Any given time, depending on the year, your water usage may go up or may go down.
Not $600. Not from $108 to $600.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, okay. I haven't used that much water. That's more than my mortgage.
I didn't say that, but all I'm saying at any given time, if you want green grass in the summertime, you're going to have a high water bill, especially when it's 90s. Some people don't care about the grass, whether it's green or not, so it's brown. In the wintertime, and it depends on how clean you want to be too, you know.
I can't afford to bathe at $600.
Don't tell nobody that.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to stand on somebody's sprinkler.
Yeah. Sometimes there's different things that contribute: a leaky faucet, toilet running, and believe me, that runs that meter. You got to drip.
I checked every drip, everything.
So at any rate, the best thing that we can do is we can send someone out to verify the readings on it, take a look at your history, and come up with a solution for you. The other thing is that for many years, a lot of these water bills were getting estimated. Some of them were getting estimated low. So when they came out and took actual readings and got the true number, and that bill came up significantly higher, now just say if your bill's been estimated for 3 years. I'm not saying that's your case, Diane. I'm not saying that's your case. But just say if your bill's been estimated for 3 years, it hasn't been read, and then they come out and do the reading, and get an accurate reading and compare that with your history, then you may see a significant increase in your water bill. But taking into consideration, you may do some cooking, washing the car, other things, there will be some increase in your water bill. Now, in regards to the reading of the water bill, and correct me, we have put in for IEPA grant to replace all the water meters in the village of Dolton. $4.2 million. We haven't gotten it yet. It looks good, but until we get it, we can't say that we have it. And at that point, when we change all those meters, they'll be read by satellite.
Okay, and
the possibility of error will be very minimal.
Okay,
So-
in defense of the business owners,
Yes.
as far as the garbage is concerned, I don't blame them because I've seen people. We need to be responsible for ourselves. We can't blame these businesses because, I mean, I have actually seen people throw garbage out their car. The garbage can is right here.
Right.
I mean, there was a party in my neighborhood just this last weekend. Woman sitting in her car eating chicken, throw the bones out, throw the bone paper and everything out the window.
Right.
Who had to clean this up? You go behind my house, Motel 6 back there.
Yeah.
Evidence and everything. So sometimes we have to be responsible for what we do. If we want a clean community, we need to keep it clean.
Right. Well, everybody should join in. I mean, you could do it every day. The trustees passed an ordinance and they posted signs in regards to the penalty for $750. There was some opposition in regards to that amount of $750. But the simple thing is that if you don't violate it, you don't have to worry about the $750. It could be $5,000. But if you don't violate it, you don't have to worry about that. So what we're trying to do, and we suffer from a lot of illegal dumping. We get people that come from different towns and come over. I've caught them. The police have caught them. They come and they do rehab, take old mattresses, and they come over to Dolton and dump it.
They sure do.
Simply because they think they can get away with it.
Yes.
Now, we put an ordinance in place, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, we seized the vehicle. Right. We put fees on it, we seized the vehicle, and hopefully they won't be dumping with that vehicle anymore. You know, so everybody has to be vigilant. Not only that, we put a reward in place.
Right.
I think it was $500. Trustees, we put an ordinance in place for $500. If you see someone illegal dumping, you call the police, you get the description, call the police. If the police gets there and catch them before they leave, it doesn't have to be a conviction. You get the $500. All the police has to do is apprehend them when you call. So try to get a good description of the vehicle, try to get the police out there as quickly as possible, go through dispatch, get the license plate number, and hopefully maybe you can identify that person or some description of that person's dumping. Unfortunately, a lot of this dumping happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And they're so fast with it, they back the truck up, let the dump out, and take off. So, and it's a big problem for us, but we clean it up, but there's a cost to doing that, because we have to pay for those dumpsters when Public Works pay for the manpower to go out there, pay for the dumpsters, Public Works to clean it up and put it in those dumpsters, and we actually absorb the cost on that. So please be vigilant in regards to illegal dumpings. Ms. Creighton?
Good evening. Mayor, what I'd like to say and like to bring to the residents' attention is that for the last 15 or 20 years, the village of Dolton has not raised its taxes. And I'd like to commend the trustees as well as you for keeping that promise. But on the flip side, understand people say that their tax bills are very high. And I think Mr. Creighton and myself have awesomely, continuously come to the residents to make them aware that your taxes have been increased because of the school. Schools have increased the taxes that we pay. Now, District 205, who we've advocated for with, on behalf of parents and students, that's a $112 million budget that I love the energy that came into this room this evening. But I would love to see you at a school board meeting for District 205 for the high school. That board meeting is held every second Wednesday of the month. No one comes to ask what's done with that $112 million budget, and we all need to know how those monies are spent in each school district, whether it's grammar school or high school. So to understand that those things are happening. And I also wanted to let the residents know that the interviewing process will be brought down. I don't know if parents have received a letter about getting a new principal at Thornbridge High School. That will be our 10th principal at Thornbridge High School since Mr. and Mrs. Creighton have been there and have graduated 6 students children out of that building. They said the process will begin in July, so be expecting the information to come out and come and view the candidates that they have decided that we will choose to be the next principal of Thornbridge High School. Mayor, I'd just like to commend everyone. I'm excited because I hear the energy in my community, on my block, from Cottage Grove to Ingleside, of the exciting things that's going on in the village of Dolton. So I would like to give each and every one of you a round of applause. It's not perfect, but I commend you. People say, oh, you want something. I don't want anything. All I want to do is to make sure that we appreciate the sacrifices and the things that are making Dolton the unique place that it is. Please come out and support the flea market, farmers market. I think it's exciting that I don't have to go to Elsip or to 42nd and Ashland to do a flea market or to clean out my garage. Why are we not coming together to support the things that help our community grow as other communities? So, Mayor, I say to you, I say to the trustees, I say to all of us, we have a responsibility to make sure that we're helping to move Dolton forward. So, as well as, don't forget about our Father's Day brunch. I'm excited. This will be the first Father's Day brunch. Breakfast, that's correct. I'm excited that we're acknowledging fathers. I'm very excited. We had our second Mother's Day, so I'm excited about the things that's taking place. So can we all give a round of applause? You may not totally agree, but it's all right to disagree, to agree that the good outweighs the bad. Is that right? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more announcement. If you would, if you're not doing anything Sunday, this coming Sunday, we're having a Fathers in the Park barbecue. This is Charter's Youth Commission. This is the youth commission that's been around for the last 7 years. And we have barbecue, rib tips, the whole 9 yards, homemade ice cream, being cranked outside, and peach cobbler, German chocolate cake, everything's made from scratch. On this coming Sunday, please come out. We have 3-legged races, watermelon eating contests, and have you ever tried to eat 30 crackers and whistle? See, we want to bring that family environment back into enjoying and appreciating our fathers. Happy Father's Day to you all.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Sandra, come on up, introduce yourself, tell us what you do. Curtis, are you here representing the senator?
Thank you.
No? Okay.
Good evening. I'm Sandra Wells. I am the Director for Neighborhood Housing Services in the South Suburbs. So what I do as a director, I bring out messages to the communities about how you can acquire homes. So I listened to everything that was said this evening, and Mayor, you're correct. A lot of folks cannot purchase because of their credit. One of the things we do is help people with their credit. We help you get it back on track so that you can purchase a home. Another thing I heard is that something about Section 8 and the lawns and things like that. You have to realize that some communities have a higher percentage of home ownership, which means the homeowners are taking care of their own lawn. So when you talk about Orland and Tinley, you got 97%, 98% home ownership. Dolton, we don't have that, right? So we don't have the home ownership, and the people don't have the pride that it would take to take care of the homes. Now, what Rep. Davis was talking about, I'm in total agreement with, and having a conversation with our housing authorities on how we can acclimate these folks into homes that are used to renting in towers. So that's something that is in conversation with the Housing Authority Cook County, and when that happens, we hope to get some of the renters out. Folks don't want to come out. You can look around you and see, people don't come out. How do we reach them? You talk about their voucher, they'll come out. So as a neighbor, pick up some paper, they'll pick it up too. I pick up paper all the time. I pull weeds from my neighbors because I don't like weeds. They're renters. They don't pull weeds, I do. So it's just things we have to do to stay involved. So another thing we do at Neighborhood Housing Services, not only preparing people for home ownership, if you are a homeowner and you're struggling making that payment, we also will counsel you through that. We also do some lending. We have lending arms with nice grants to go with them. I'm not a loan originator, so I won't talk a lot about what the loan originators do. But there are some grants that are coming out to the Southland. When I know about it, you guys will know about it. And I know you'll come calling me. So with that said, if you need to reach me or have any questions about renting or purchasing or anybody that wants to purchase, that's what we do. We help people get prepared. And it's free.
Okay. Thanks, Sandra. We're going to wrap up this evening, and I thank all of you for coming out tonight. This is how we can find out what's going on in the village. It's just a shame that we got close to 25,000 residents, and I'm not sure how many people we had here tonight. Elizabeth, was there a sign-in sheet? Okay. So it really shows that everyone that's here tonight is concerned about the progress of the village. And that's something that you should do because, you know, if you own a home here, if you rent here, or if you live here, you should be concerned because it is, it's where you live. It's where you live. And all of us, the people that you elect, all of the people in these department heads in these departments should be held accountable. And we try to do our best. Unfortunately, we get some bumps in the road, we try to smooth them out with what we have. Funding and money, budgeting and stuff like that is difficult. And I'm not sure how much we stand to lose on the state level for our district or for the village. I think each town, yeah.
It's going to take a haircut. Not too soon.
Yeah. So, so at any rate, thank you all for coming out.